In this video presentation, we will be discussing street foods. This assignment is done by students of the Development of Caribbean Cuisine class. The group comprises of 6 students: Lee-Shane Wright, Kezia Campbell, Sherrilyn Bain, Chynelle Harewood, Roshan Ramdhanie, and myself, Augustus. Within this video, the underlying issues which pertain to food sanitation and its importance will be covered. We would also address the correct ways to handle foods and give a synopsis on food safety. A street food is one that is already prepared or cooked and sold by vendors in a street or other public location for immediate consumption. In our country of Trinidad and Tobago, there are many different street foods, some that are traditional and some others that we have added a Trini taste to. A survey was conducted among 60 students within the University of the West Indies. There was a list of common and not so common street foods, and they were to be ranked on taste, appearance, and overall food safety. Doubles and snow cones ranked in the top, and oysters was at the bottom. We chose to cover a combination of the common and unconventional street foods. We will now discuss the issues and pros on items chosen separately and make a general recommendation at the end. The first item we chose was doubles. This particular vendor, Mr. Taro, was located at the Karuni roundabout.
This guy is a madman. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind. This guy is a drunkard. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind. Watch me when I drift.
Alright, so people, today we're gonna try Caro doubles, roundabout doubles, known as one of the best doubles out here. As you can see, it's looking very good. Watch it people, watch it. It's looking real good. Alright? So let me see how it is.
Some observations were made, such as the facilities were provided for hand washing, there was a person who handled the money other than the vendor, vendors appeared to be clean and had their food badges, vendor had an innovative way to cover goods, vendor had a clean place to store foods and drinks, there was very little flies or other insects around, and there was also a garbage disposal provided. Some of the cons included: the environment was extremely dusty. Dust is a physical hazard that can contaminate food. Item was not hot when received. If foods are kept at a certain temperature for too long, they can encourage growth of microorganisms, which can cause foodborne illnesses. No gloves were worn to handle foods. There are many pathogens that can be transferred. One of the major issues involved with street foods or any foods at all are foodborne illnesses, which was a con on the preceding table. The fact that the doubles was not kept at a proper temperature can be a cause of this.
Hey boy, that doubles I just eat. My God. Hey boy, I should need that doubles boy. My God, that hammer belly walking. Why, oh God? Oh no.
I know.
Foodborne illnesses can be caused by a number of different ways. The second item we chose was snow cones, and decided to go with the very popular Mr. Leroy, who sells his snow cones in the University of the West Indies. We asked Mr. Leroy about where he sources his raw materials and some other questions, as well as interviewed a customer. The snow cones were made with 2 scoops of shaved ice, 2 pumps of syrup, another scoop of ice to top it off, and more syrup on top with the option of condensed milk.
When you have your ice box and stuff, this carries your the entire day. They don't have any like melting problems or you average how much ice you have to take you through the entire day. And one of the foods that we chose was snow cone, right? And we have a young lady here, and we want to ask you, why did you choose snow cone today? Because it's hot, right? So you wanted to cool it down and, you know, maybe some of the heat. Yeah. Right. So, do you usually choose snow cone? No. Often? My gosh, is that a healthy food or something? Yeah. It's not healthy.
Similar to the doubles vendor, Mr. Leroy appeared to be clean and had his food badge. The vendor's supply was within walking distance, which meant that he did not have to travel far, which can reduce contaminants. The goods were kept covered and in plastic containers, as well as there was very little flies or other insects around. The environment was clean and not dusty or full of smoke. Some of the cons was that no facilities was provided to wash hands. There was no one to handle the money, and there were no gloves used. Condensed milk was kept in the can after open, and there was no garbage disposal for cups, straws, and napkins. One of the characteristics of a safe food handler is proper hand washing. There are many myths concerning this. Therefore, a demonstration would be done.
Never had it easy for the brands and the bling and the expensive thing, oh that. I never had the money, never had nice living. And mama say, oh, you could have it all. Just walk.
The third street food was oysters. We found a guy in Endeavour Road, Chagonas. How long are you doing this?
3 years now. I used to
Yes.
sell by double wholesale.
Okay.
Now
So you just go out to see and get these, or you have a supplier?
no, I just go and get more.
Okay.
How much fast? Where is get it from?
Big sandwich.
So make way for the youth, make way for the R. Tell them I'm feeling good, like a new machine, like morning dew, fresh on the scene. I make a party to the full extreme, and light it up.
Lucky enough to have two customers here to buy this delicious oysters, right? So today I'm going to interview Miss Debbie and ask her how this oysters taste, right? So Miss Debbie, why did you choose here?
Apparently we were just passing by and we decided to stop.
Okay.
Have an oyster.
Okay. But like, what makes this oyster better from the rest of where you go?
Sauce, fresh seasoning, and mix things.
So good. So this is
They
one
don't
of
have good pepper sauce, they don't have good fresh seasoning.
so this is one of your best street foods you could ever get. So we're making the oysters for Eden to try. So Eden, you ready to try this?
Of course.
Let me see.
I'm already.
Watch Mr. Armstrong, we're making this.
We observed that the vendor had a food badge and that all his sources were covered. However, he had no facilities for hand washing. He was located by a dirty drain. No gloves were worn to handle foods. Vendor had many small cuts on his hand from the constant preparation of the oyster mixture. Storage was a bucket that did not contain ice or any temperature controlling agents. There was no garbage disposal, and vendor handled food and money simultaneously. Food storage at the proper temperature is very important. This chart shows a variety of foods and the temperatures at which it should be stored. The fourth item was quite interesting. We found an ice cream store inside a closed store close to Grand Bazaar. It was just in the middle of the store, operating like a business on its own. There was a variety of flavors that was different than the normal chocolate pistachio mixture.
So we're back with
Rishi.
Mr. Rishi here, and he's going to serve us the ice cream. But before he does that, we're just gonna ask him a couple questions. So, Mr. Rishi, why did you decide to go into selling ice cream here?
As I told you, in the front we have a food court, so that is why we decided to sell ice cream over here.
Okay.
And plus this ice cream, it tastes real good. So I used to have this ice cream when I used to go to South every Saturday. So that is why I decided to sell this ice cream.
With regards to the ice cream, the only cons we observed were that the vendor did not have his food badge and that there was no garbage disposal. The fifth and sixth items were pea me and coconut water respectively. Interviews were done with both vendors on how the items are prepared for the customer.
Here with Miss Deborah, and I'm here having some pemi, and I'm just gonna ask her how do you make pemi, right?
First, you blend the coconut, pumpkin, the essence, the nutmeg, the spice, and well, you have to prepare the leaf. And you prepare the leaf, and then you mix everything together with a little margarine butter. And the secret ingredient is a touch of salt, sugar, and you mix it and leave it to soak for about 20 minutes, and then you can start to laugh.
So, Mitch, you tell me, right? How much coconuts on a day you normally see?
Like this, I sell about 50 bottles, I sell around
10-15 bottles.
Yeah.
So what's the price range for a coconut here?
$8 for one,
Uh-huh.
and 45 for the bottle. I'll show you the bottles.
$8 for one, 45 for the bottle.
2 liter
Alright,
bottle.
so how long will it take you to cut a coconut?
You can say
2 to 3 minutes.
yeah, probably.
Let me see.
I don't know about you, but I come out right now to get on bad, 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 get 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 bad, bad, bad.
He cut it less than a minute. It's not less than not performance. Performance we see.
Performance.
Performance. So Kezia, tell me.
It's sweet.
It's sweet.
With regards to the pay me, the only con was that she had improper storage facilities. The coconut vendor, however, had tools used to cut the coconut that was not clean, which violates HACCP with the critical control point. Vendors were inappropriately dressed, vendors did not have a food badge, and improper storage and temperature for coconuts were kept. The last items we examined were the Bad Habit Burger and a foot-long hot dog.
Hi, we are with what's your name? Marsha at Chatoo's Halal Burger. Halal Burger, and she just ordered the Bad Habit. Can you tell me about the Bad Habit?
Well, the Bad Habit is a burger, but it's, I don't know, the best way to describe it is really a bad habit. Everything that you're really not supposed to eat.
Every man is a violent man, and I don't want to be violent man. A violent man is a dangerous man, and I don't want to be dangerous man. A dangerous man is a dangerous man, cause a dangerous man go walk kill a man to just eat some food. Everybody eat some food. Move so low. Every man is a violent man, and I don't want to.
For your food while you are here. We have everything is frozen. Everything frozen and stored in coolers. And coolers. Everything, all the salad is on ice. All the salad. Ice. The season ice. Yes, everything is ice.
We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. Ready.
Oh, it smells so good. Wow, oh my god. This chicken is well seasoned. Definitely well seasoned. I love the savory. It's not salty and I like that. Nice to meet you, Sean.
Alright.
One question. What would you say is your main seller?
All the items very popular. The big man thing beef. Very nice item, also the beef.
What?
Well, all the items come with all the toppings. The regular one though will just have one sausage. So it's a single. The big man thing, anything the big man thing is double the meat. The roly-poly is triple the meat and the marquee is 4 times the meat.
Now we are still at Ivory Dogs with a customer called Marlon. Nice to meet you, Marlon. And what did you order at Ivory Dogs?
Big man thing.
Of all the food establishments, why did you come here?
I don't know, I just felt from
Big man thing. Do you store your food items?
In the trunk we store everything in this chiller, right? But at home, in our main kitchen, we stick to all the regulations and everything is kept below freezing for food.
Right, so earlier when you described the item, was that a brief description on how it's made?
Well, basically we grill all our meats. And then we have the bread, the specially made bread, and then we just put everything inside the bread, toppings, everything.
Who makes the bread?
We have our bread specially made for us. We used to get this bread anywhere else in bread.
Say, he drop me down like a.
I don't even know how to start eating it. I don't know. There's no way possible to eat this in a ladylike manner. At first it tastes just the meat, and then the pineapple hits you, and then you get crunch from the chips and the meat sauce.
With regards to the Bad Habit Burger, the only con we found was that the food tongs was used to scrape food off the spatula, which can cause cross-contamination. The foot-long hot dog, however, the vendors wore no hairnet or cover, while their hair lengths were long. HACCP, which stands for Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, is a management system in which food safety is addressed through the analysis and control of biological, chemical, and physical hazards from raw material production, procurement, and handling to manufacturing, distribution, and consumption of the finished product. It is advisable that all vendors and food handlers, in fact, everyone that works in the food industry, be brought up to date with the food laws pertaining to their country. One of the major aspects of any culture or country is the food in which belongs to that country. Trinidad and Tobago is a multicultural nation, and the food contained here reflects such. A publication released by the Ministry of Health in 2012 reminded food handlers that they were expected to cover their hair, use disposable gloves, and cover their food. With an inspection that was to be conducted that year, all foods exposed to dust, flies, and served at room temperature was seized. Possession of a valid food badge was very important. As well, foods needed to be served in sanitary conditions. The article related that hot foods must be kept hot and served hot. Hot foods needed to be transported in insulated containers to maintain temperature. Cold foods must be kept cool and served cool, and cold foods were to be transported on ice or use chillers to maintain cold temperature. Once all these are or were followed, this reduces the risk of getting a foodborne illness dramatically.
But Mitch, I have one more question for you. You can spell it with scissors?
S-C-I.
Alright, you tell me. Who is president of Trinidad and Tobago? You better know this. He's a university student. You better tell me. Alright, got it.